Hello and welcome once again to Officium for part 2 of our study into a relationship with God. If this is the first video of the series that you are watching, I highly recommend that you stop, go back and watch part 1 where we learn about how God created us to be in a relationship with Him. If you've already watched that, then let's begin with part 2 of Relationship with God. Welcome to Officium. I think that there is little doubt that identity is at the core of our greatest existential queries in every stage of life. Identity is the fact of being who or what a person or thing is. And this is fundamentally attached to our deepest yearning for answers to questions like, who am I? Why am I here? And what is my purpose? In some way, since the beginning of time until today, and spanning borders, cultures, societies, languages, and ethnicities, we all ask these same questions. Essentially, identity is who you are, not merely your name, but everything that makes you you. And since we know that God designed us and crafted everything about us, we can conclude that our identity is linked to God in some way. The first connection we can make between our relationship with God and our identity is that we belong to God. To reiterate a previous point, God created us. God designed us. God's imagination and power made us out of nothing. Each one completely unique. Each one just as He desired. I didn't create myself. I didn't choose things like my physical features, my parents or my relatives, or even the place where I was born. God formed all of those things as part of His design for my life. Look at this beautiful passage in Psalm 139, where King David says, "For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you. When I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there were none of them." One of the things that King David was articulating in this psalm is that we belong to God. God created us and shaped us down to the smallest detail from before we were even fully formed. So here are two reasons why that is very good news for all of us. They are heredity and provision. You see, unlike any other creature in the known universe, we humans have been distinctly created for a special, intimate relationship with God. Although sin tarnishes and severs that relationship, in Jesus, we are gifted with the right to become children of God. Look at what the Gospel of John says in chapter 1. He says, "But to all who did receive Him," talking about Jesus, "to all who believed in His name, He gave the right to become children of God." Think about that. Imagine that. Understand that you can have the right to become a child of God. So here are two very important things that you have to know about that right off the bat. The first is that since God created you uniquely, patiently, fearfully, and wonderfully, is there anyone alive that could truly make you feel bad about who you are? Because as different as you and I are, God spent just as much time and care forming each of us. He crafted you as something beautiful and beloved. He created you as something without a flaw, just as you are. The perfection of perfection produced you and put his stamp of approval on you as his creation, as one who bears his image. That's who you are. And God doesn't make mistakes. He is the perfection of perfection. And the second point is that if, like John said, you have received Jesus and you have believed in Jesus, then you have been adopted into the family with the Lord as your Father, Jesus as your brother, and God's Spirit within you as your helper. This is your inheritance and your right as a child of God. Your Father is the King. Your Father is almighty and all powerful. Your Father holds the universe in his hands, and your Father prizes you above all possessions. God says of you, as he said of Jesus in Matthew chapter 3, "This is my beloved Son," or "This is my beloved daughter, with whom I am well pleased." You are well pleasing to him. You are his child, and this promise belongs to you, that we read in Matthew chapter 7, where Jesus says, "If you then who are evil know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him?" And this leads to my final point, which is provision. As God's child, you have everything when you have the Father. If you take all of the things that you consider to be deficiencies, inadequacies, imperfections, or failures, your Father is the one that makes up the difference. If you are empty, he will fill you. If you are broken, he will repair you. If you are barely hanging on, he will be your strength. And if you have sinned, the blood of his Son has been poured out for you to redeem you, because you are his beloved. So you don't have to go at it alone. Your identity in God says that you belong to him. He has vouched for you. He has paid the cost for the debt that you owe. He has provided the collateral. He has got you in his hands. He gives you an inheritance, and he provides for all of your needs in Jesus. Well, thank you for being with us once again for part 2 of this Relationship with God series. I hope that God is speaking to you. And please don't forget to reach out with any questions, comments, prayer requests, or any feedback. You can reach me at the email that you see here. I would love to hear from you. Make sure you check out the follow-up questions that are listed here. And we'll see you next time for part 3 of this series on Officium.